If you want to crucify your flesh, what that means is you're not sweeping your sin under the rug and pretending it's not there. It means you're putting it to death. And crucifixions was a public mockery saying, don't do that, don't go there. If you really want to deal with your sin, if you really want to experience life, then you can't keep it under the rug. You should put it in open shame. Here's what this is. Here's what we lack in our church. And I'm not just talking about our church. I'm talking about the church in America. And here's what is needed in order to crucify our sin. And here's what's hard about that breaking of this bone. If we want to crucify our sin, if we want to not be like the Pharisees and say, look at me, I'm so nice and clean, but dead on the inside, rotten on the inside. We need to confess our sins. We need to confess our sins. I told you last week, I spent time with the International Mission Board missionary who's in the States for just a little bit. He was telling me and drawing out all these things of what they're doing with these groups, thousands of people coming to Christ, and they're trying to spread them out and to go and the stuff they do in their groups every time they meet once a week. And one of the things he wrote is confession. Then he looked up at me and he said, out loud to one another. And I go, oh, we don't do that. Are you in agreement with me? And he was in agreement. I mean, he's American. He was like, yeah, we don't do that. If you want to actually be free from your sin, you don't keep your sin a secret. Because then you have accountability. I want you to think about, and I was processing through this. This is a repurposed message. This is the newest parts. I was processing through this with Sarah and thinking about the Pharisees who are clean on the outside, prim and proper, got their nice polo, their shirt pressed, and they're ready for church, and they're saying, God, here I am. And Jesus is like, you're a hypocrite. You're dead. You're rotting. That's literally what he says to them, and he's yelling. Jesus is yelling at them. On the other hand, and they look clean, but they're dead. On the other hand, what happens when you confess your sin? Man, I look dirty. Are you with me? My outside is filthy. But you know what's on the inside? Life, forgiveness, freedom from sin. Do you see the difference in the contrast here? I don't want to be like the Pharisee. I don't want to say, look at me, look at me, look at me. Every single one of us is broken and dirty and filthy and dead apart from Jesus. Every single one of us. And if I want to experience life, if I want true vitality, if I want life on the inside, I need to confess my sins. I was telling my wife this. She said, okay. She said, let's do it. So we had conversation yesterday. I said, I'm struggling with this. She said, I'm struggling with this. Do you want freedom? Do you want life? You can't sweep your sin under the rug and expect it to go away. It's just gonna rot, fester. It was a few months ago, my daughter spilt milk in our kitchen. We cleaned it up, but we had a mat in front of our sink. And a lot of milk went under that mat. We didn't know it. We cleaned it all up. It looked really good on the outside. If someone walked in our house, I'd be like, oh, your kitchen's nice and clean. But after a few weeks, we started to smell something. We didn't know where it was coming from, but it was nasty, right? And our daughter was walking in our kitchen, running. She runs everywhere. And it wasn't just milk anymore. It had turned gooey. You know what I'm talking. It's disgusting. It was swept under the rug, out of sight, out of mind. But it was growing. It was soil. It was, and that mat then slipped out. And my daughter slipped in it and fell straight in the curdled, nasty, stinky milk. Now, my daughter is cute as a button. And I just want to hug her and kiss her all the time. But that was like, no, Sarah, you clean her. No, you clean her. No, you clean her. And we're trying, I'm gagging. It was horrible. It was horrible. But here's the deal. That is us when we sweep our sin under the rug. It's out of sight, out of mind. And we look like the Pharisees, but inside, I'm unclean. I'm dead. But if we want to live, if we want to be free from sin, if we want to truly embrace life, let me confess my sin to one another. I look dirty on the outside, but on the inside, I'm clean. I want you to think about yourself for a second. Jesus says, if we confess, or 1 John says, if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. Sin swept under the rug spoils the soul. And the longer it sits there, the more nasty it becomes. Are you with me? Would you, listen, I want you to really consider this question. Would you rather be dirty on the outside and alive on the inside, or clean on the outside and dead on the inside?